Today, we're going to talk about a subject that is perhaps a little sensitive. However, it has to do with a real, genuine issue that we all face from time to time in one way or another. This has to do with mental health and suicide prevention. Now, here are some of the facts in relation to this subject, specifically with regard to construction. The construction industry has the second highest rate of suicide in the United States at 53.3 per 100,000 workers, according to the Center for Disease Control. In the US, there are approximately 123 suicides per day, and that breaks down to one death every 12 minutes. Now, we want to help with regard particularly to those of us who are in the construction industry to help keep each other healthy and alive. In 2014, a 33-year-old Oregon construction worker was found at his work site with fatal injuries consistent with falling 150 feet from a crane tower. The worker had called in sick a few days earlier and was last seen around 10 p.m. the evening before at the construction site. This death has been classified as suicide by the medical examiner. So the question arises, what makes construction workers vulnerable? Well, we work in roles that are isolating, is part of it. Employment is very much dependent on the economy. We spend large amounts of time away from family and friends. There is chronic pain that's caused by manual labor. There's stress due to time constraints, work environment, and poor sleep. There's the use of alcohol and mood-altering substances to cope with life. There's also the stigma of mental illness, and that encourages secrecy and isolation. So the list can go on and on. We want to provide you with a way to address these issues and to recognize the signs and symptoms. Once you do recognize them, you can get the proper help to make sure that we all go home to our friends and family every day. So you don't have to be a mental health worker to help someone who's struggling. Let's talk a couple of minutes about the warning signs. If an individual begins to talk about self-harm, is highly self-critical, demonstrates self-hatred, starts to withdraw from others, exhibits various forms of self-destructive behavior, indicates they have no hope for the future. They decrease in their productivity. They talk about being a burden. It becomes evident that they have frequent or extreme mood swings, an increase in tardiness or absenteeism. These are all warning signs, or can be warning signs, with regard to an impending or potential issue with regard to suicide. Now, with regard to prevention, how can we help prevent suicide? The first thing really is not to ignore it. If you are worried about some coworker or even yourself, speak up. Show your concern for that individual, that you've noticed that they're acting differently, and inquire why they don't seem quite like themselves. Respond quickly if you believe your friend or your coworker is in crisis. Offer help and support. Call the suicide prevention hotline or the crisis text line for ideas to help your coworker. Now, we also provide, of course, the employee assistance program that is free to our workers and to their families. If you can get counseling there, it's confidential. So if you start having these kind of issues, remember that you can get the number from us and you can talk to the EAP, and that is a good place to start. So we've been touched by this in the last year ourselves here in our own workplace. So I want to bring this to your attention. I want to make sure that you understand that this is an important issue and one that needs to be addressed, not let go or ignored or swept under the rug. So bear it in mind, and hopefully this will be a useful talk for you with regard to this very pressing issue.